Basically, it started that first game when we were rookies because I flew down on the ball to pick somebody off the pile. All of a sudden, I pick somebody off the pile, I get jammed in the back and go flinging about 5 or 8 yards. And I turn around and he's standing there and he's trying to intimidate me. So we just didn't like one another from that game, and it carried on and on and on. Before you played the Cowboys, you heard it from everybody in the league. Randy White, he's the intimidator of professional football. There was a game in '83 where he just pummeled Russ Grimm. Russ was just getting smacked upside the head. And I'm jawing with Randy. We're talking big time smack. Russ comes back to the huddle. His helmet's twisted sideways. He's got blood coming down his nose. Mayday! Shut your effing mouth! I said, Russ, I got him exactly where I want him. He's not playing over you. He's playing over my ass. He's kicking my ass. Well, he was a fierce competitor, and just with that nickname, you know, here's a guy they called the Manster. He's half monster.
Randy White was all monster on the football field. This ferocious competitor played 14 seasons and was named a first-team All-Pro 7 times.
When you saw him on film, you would see offensive linemen slide to him, make sure that there were 2 guys on him. Most teams did that because once he got 1 sack and he was in your head as an offensive lineman, he would definitely get another and he would just physically pummel you. He had some of the quickest hands in the NFL at that time, particularly for a defensive lineman, where he would come and slap and swim to get to the quarterback. Randy White was a step ahead of any defensive lineman at that time because he had such a high motor, and he was a pretty good-sized player at 6'4", 257. You didn't see many defensive tackles that size that could get to the quarterback. He could run down plays from behind at the defensive tackle position. Most tackles didn't have that athletic ability that he had and tenacity he had.
White's relentless style of play earned him co-MVP honors in Super Bowl 12. It also earned him the hostility of Cowboy haters everywhere, especially in Washington, D.C.
When we played in RFK Stadium, you know, one of my biggest concerns was the security for my family and friends that were coming down there. One night, a Redskin fan poured a beer over my sister's head, and my brother came across 2 rows and decked the guy. And by the time he hit the floor, my mother had a blackjack in her pocketbook and she was beating on this guy. It was not only a war on the football field, but you had to watch yourself off the field down there.
Randy was the Lawrence Taylor and the Reggie White his first 8 or 9 years in the league before those guys came onto the scene. When the Manster was in there in the mid-'70s through the early '80s, you know, he was the guy that most teams said, that's the guy we have to watch for. It's the Manster. How are you going to play against Randy White? How are you going to beat the Manster? He's one of the greatest defensive tackles. He was basically the first link in that chain that you saw players that were unblockable. You know, you can go back to the Deacon Jones and the Merlin Olsons and guys like that, but he carried it to another level. And then LT, and then Reggie. You don't find many guys with I hate to say this on film, that with that much heart as Randy White, and you really have to respect the way that he played. I respect the way that he played football and the player that he was, but I still have some bitter feelings, and I'll probably have them until the day I die.